黒人初めて。I didn't want to perpetuate a dangerous stereotype by being the aggressive, angry black woman. And he said, お兄さんみたいな感じの方。Intersectionality。私は外国人だけでなく、外国人嫌悪。黒人です。人種差別。黒人だけではなく、黒人の女性です。性差別。黒人女性だけではなく、肌が黒い黒人女性です。ミソジヌアールと、何でしたっけ？色彩主義。She didn't expect me to speak Japanese, so she thought she could say whatever she wanted. 黒人も綺麗なんや。ヒップホップ好きじゃないの？黒人なのに足が遅いね。トラックできる？ Foreign girls are like this. Black girls are like this. I'm hopeful that Japan can get to a stage where we don't have to warn other black people about what they could experience. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Deandra. 皆さんこんにちは、ディアンドラです。今日はですね、日本語と英語を混ぜて人種差別について話したいと思います。I'm going to be switching between Japanese and English, so if you do need subtitles, please stick those on. 私はほぼ2年間ぐらい日本に住んで、黒人の女性にとって体験したことを紹介したいと思います。どうしてかというと、人種差別は大問題じゃないんですか。日本人が知ってほしいこと、分かってほしいことが多いからです。So there are a couple of things that triggered me to make this video today, one of them being linked to the Olympics. So if you don't know, the Olympics is still going on. 皆さんご存知だと思いますが、東京オリンピックはまだ開催される予定ですね。オリンピックの選手たちは BLM、ブラック・ライブズ・マター、黒人の命も大切だという運動を支持することは禁止になりました。あとは BLM が書いてあるアイテムも禁止になりました。I'm gonna read you something from the BBC website. 現在の五輪規則はあらゆるデモや政治的、宗教的、人種に関する宣伝行為を禁じているということですね。悲しいです。やっぱ悔しいです。黒人の権利は人種プロパガンダ。I'm gonna read you something that someone said on The View. This to me felt like a direct assault on the freedom of expression of black athletes in particular because they took issue specifically with Black Lives Matter with that term. I'm also going to read you something from Voice Up Japan on Instagram. ここまで見てきた選手たちの行動は政治的と言えるでしょうか？そもそも人種差別は政治的問題というよりも誰もが関係する人権問題として考えなければならないのではないでしょうか。この動画を撮る理由の一つです。二つ目は to stop a book called Little Black Sambo. It has very racist caricatures. Another reason, 三つ目の理由は副島淳さん a TV segment that he appeared in. This lady said that there was no racism in Japan. 日本にないわって。嘘ですよ。本当に。So in my experiences, the racism in South Korea was more direct. It was more aggressive. 猿とか、うんことか、汚いとか、焼けたとか。これ何回聞いたことありますよ。でも、日本で聞いたことが一回もないです。Japanese people in general are more polite, which means that the racism is typically more subtle, which means microaggressions. マイクロアグレッションとは小さな攻撃性という意味です。普通にステレオタイプに基づいています。例えば、黒人も綺麗なんや。ヒップホップ好きじゃないの？黒人なのに足が遅いね。トラックできる？褒めてるのか侮辱してるのかわからないです。本当に。日本にも外国人嫌悪がひどいです。For example, that whole campaign about 外国人と食べないでください。マスクを かけてください。かけるつけるする知らん。外国人だけコロナウイルスを蔓延することはできないでしょう。あとは、日本語上手ですね。ということは、黒人だから言われるわけではないです。外国人ですから、外国人に見えるから言われました。Like, how annoyed would you be? You've been in Japan for like 40 years. Maybe that's not even it. Maybe one of your parents is Japanese. Maybe one of your parents is a dark-skinned Japanese person. You know? 見た目だけを見て、あ、日本人じゃないはずだと思えないでしょ。And it's not even just that. It's the level of surprise that a lot of Japanese people will be like, 嘘ほんまになんで日本語こんなに上手なのどれくらい日本語 Stuff like that made me worried about getting into serious relationships in Japan. Because もし結婚して子供を産んだら、その子供たちのパスポートに日本、産んだところは日本が書いてあるのに、日本人に見えないから日本人ではないはずだ。それは本当に悲しくて、やっぱ日本は家にならない。And then on top of that xenophobia is racism. Like recently I'm seeing more and more black people speak Japanese on TV. And that's fantastic. Because I don't want the 日本語上手ですね and then 黒人なのに日本語上手ですね So now I'm going to go into some more personal experiences and story times. I'm going to break this into categories because intersectionality. 私は外国人だけでなく外国人嫌悪黒人です。人種差別。黒人だけではなく、黒人の女性です。性差別。黒人女性だけではなく、肌が黒い黒人女性です。ミソジノワールと、何でしたっけ色彩主義。There's so many factors that go into why we all have different experiences. My experiences as a dark-skinned black woman are going to be different to the experiences of a light-skinned black woman or a dark-skinned black man. Okay? Let's start with xenophobia. Okay? 外国人嫌悪. I've had people stand up after I sit down, and that's not them getting off the train, because when someone else stands up, they will sit down in that seat just further away from me. I've had people not sit next to me, even though the train was absolutely packed, and staring at me at the sento or onsen. I've had people take me on dates that turned out to be language exchanges where they just wanted to learn English. But I've had people assume that I want to talk about sex 24/7 and want to have sex 24/7 because foreigners are more open. Don't be careful. I want to know how far they can take it with you, because Japanese girls are like this, okay? They're not into this. Foreign girls are like this. Black girls are like this, you know, and they have all of these stereotypes that they have conjured up from the media and so on. And I've had people who are very interested in British culture, more than I am, and that's all they want to talk about. I think my worst and most obvious example with xenophobia was in a club toilet in Kyoto. And I was there with a Hong Kongese friend. There were two Japanese girls. They were screaming, very excited, very drunk, getting to know each other. She screams in Japanese through the door to her friend who is throwing up. このバカ外人がうるさいから聞こえないよ. I do know that obviously my Hong Kongese friend does count as a foreigner, but the girls who were making the most noise were the two Japanese girls. She saw two foreigners speaking English and she blamed the level of noise on us two foreigners. I turned around and said, "What do you mean foreigners? They're Japanese." To her in Japanese, and she looks at me with fear in her eyes and she's like, "sumimasen," and she runs out of the toilet. Brings me back to the whole "Nihongo jouzu desu ne." Like, she didn't expect me to speak Japanese, so she thought she could say whatever she wanted, which she couldn't, and I wanted her to know that she couldn't. I find her hiding behind two Japanese guys. I'm taller than both of these men, okay? the more she looked at me and played this whole defenseless, meek, docile, vulnerable woman, that annoyed me so much. Asian women already have this stereotype of being quiet and meek and vulnerable and needing help. And it doesn't help that she was perpetuating that stereotype by herself, because these guys looked at me and were like, what are you doing to like our woman, kind of thing. And I was there like, I didn't want to perpetuate a dangerous stereotype by being the aggressive, angry black woman, because people were starting to look. There's this Japanese woman who's screaming kawaii, kawaii, like scary, she's so scary, at me, and then everyone who's looking doesn't understand the situation. No one else was in the toilet, no one else knew the context, and so I was getting really frustrated. So that was when I had to leave, because not only was it a foreigner is making a scene, but it's also a scary black woman who's making a scene, right? So that was my first experience, and I really Let's go on to the next category. Black, okay? Kokujin desu. If you couldn't tell already, hi, I'm black. Hair touching. Trying to grab my bits to see if they're bigger, because black people equals bigger, curvy. That's sexualization, we'll get onto that. Asking me if the hair here is the same as the hair here. Why though? Without getting too graphic, I've been told that I taste sweeter. I have been compared black versus Asian in the bedroom, which I think is incredibly unfair, because there are Asian women who do have larger chests and who do want to be more dominant in the bedroom, and there are black women who don't have large chests and who don't want to be dominant. Fetishization, because people will want to talk to me, date me, sleep with me because I am black, and they want to try it, okay? I have heard more than once, unfortunately, kokujin hajimete. And it's like, are you gonna go home and like cross that off your list? Is it on your bucket list? Because that's weird. I've also had guys apologize for the size of their eggplant, specifically comparing it to foreigners, specifically comparing it to a black man's. And not only does it assume that I have a history with black men, not only does it assume that I have a preference for a particular size, there's a reason that the average in Japan is lower. But there are men who are responsible for that average not being so low, if you know what I'm saying, okay? So I don't like that insecurity. I don't like bringing race talk into the bedroom. I have been stopped at the airport before, and I was really nervous. Two police officers approached me and asked to see my passport. And at first I was thinking, they're polite, they're nice, this isn't America, I shouldn't be so scared of the police, right? But to confirm that they were just making sure that I wasn't homeless with my suitcase right next to me, and they weren't asking because I was a foreigner, or they weren't asking because I was black. Are you asking just me? And they said, no, we're asking everybody. And I said, okay. And then when they left, I watched them to see if they were asking everybody, and they did go to another man and then they left. But I wonder if they only asked that other man to prove that they didn't just approach me because of any prejudices. There are other instances of racism in Japan that I personally have not experienced, with certain things that make me uncomfortable, such as kurogyaru ganguro or getting stopped because you have dreads or cultural appropriation. I've seen a Japanese TikTok where he said the N-word. There's a clip on Japan for Black Lives on Instagram of a police officer explaining why he stopped a half Japanese, I think Japanese and Nigerian, why he stopped a black man. But that police officer said that he was more likely to find drugs on him, and he said, "Onisan mitai na kanji no kata." And that makes my blood boil. I haven't experienced all types of racism personally in Japan. That doesn't mean that other black people in Japan don't experience them. And that means that you need to listen to other black stories, you need to listen to other black voices and educate yourself. Japan is making progress, but incredibly slow progress. And instances that I started the video with make me feel that Japan is taking one step forward and 4 steps back when it comes to anti-blackness, xenophobia and racism. And I know that certain viewers have certain privileges that will mean they won't experience some of the things that I have talked about. And that is a privilege that you need to acknowledge, but more than just acknowledge, act on. We need people who have a voice or have more of a voice because they have more privilege to also chip in and do some legwork, you know? And Japan is making a lot of progress, slow progress, but progress all the same. There is a Black Samurai movie out on Netflix. There is a black character in Remain, I believe, an anime. And black characters are looking more like other anime characters with dark skin instead of blackface caricatures like Dragon Ball Z or One Piece lips or Jinx from Pokemon before the redesign. You know, there are so many things that still need to be done. I'm hopeful that Japan can get to a stage where we don't have to warn other black people about what they could experience. Thank you so much for watching. Je vous apprécie. この動画が良かったらグッドボタン、高評価、구독해주세요. 谢谢哦. Bye.